So as you all know, the New York Jets fired Robert Saleh after I believe it was week 5, the week 5 loss to the Denver Broncos, and they promoted Jeff Ulbrich to head coach. Now, I had high hopes, as many Jets fans as well had high hopes for Ulbrich. He looked like he was a true leader of men, someone that the players, especially the defensive players, could really get behind as the head coach. And we've seen in recent history that when a head coach gets fired and an assistant gets promoted, it kind of lights a fire under the ass of the players. I mean, you can go to Rich Bisaccia, who took the Raiders to the playoffs as the interim head coach. Also mentioning the Raiders, you could look at Antonio Pierce last year, actually coached his way into getting the full-time gig as head coach. Now, while that hasn't really worked out, it's certainly possible. And obviously, Jeff Ulbrich did not work out. He is not going to be the head coach going forward for the New York Jets. So this is, I guess I would say this is part 2 of my kind of rebuild for the New York Jets here. I did mention that if part 1 did go well, I would do free agency, I would do coaching hires, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of a hybrid version of that. And yes, I do understand that you should, and you should in general, hire a general manager before the head coach. I get it. I'm going to go for head coaching right now. I think that's a little bit more of a better grab of a title than looking for a general manager. So if that is something that you guys want to see me tackle, I would be more than happy to do a video of 10 general manager candidates for the New York Jets. But right now, I want to talk about the head coaching. Now, there's a couple guys in here that maybe you were looking forward to seeing that won't be in here. One maybe being Pete Carroll. I just think it seems like a very Woody Johnson type thing to do, to hire Pete Carroll. And while I would be pretty excited about that, I don't know if Pete Carroll is the answer at his age either, even though he probably has more energy than about 90% of the roster. The guy is awesome, but that is someone that I did leave off of this list. I just don't think it's going to happen. So let's leave him as an honorable mention. I did forget to put him as an honorable mention, which is what I wanted to do. But yeah, so these are just 10 head coaching candidates for the New York Jets that I would think would be the 10 best. And I also have an excitement meter on how excited I would be if these guys were to be hired. So first up, we're going to look at John. We're going to look at my only honorable mention besides for Pete Carroll that we have here, and that's John Gruden. I had to involve Chucky here in some way, shape, or form, just because he does seem like he is quite a fan of the New York Jets organization, and I know that he just signed on to Barstool. He's also a personnel consultant for some team in like the European and like the NFL's equivalent of like NFL Europe or whatever it's called. I first off didn't even know that still existed, and second of all, that was news to me. Through a quick Google search, you find out that John Gruden's like some kind of consultant or advisor or something to, I forget what the team is off the top of my head, but that was quite funny to find out. But yeah, the excitement meter's got me feeling nicey. I feel like this would be a little bit of a disastrous hire, I feel like, for the Jets. I feel like Gruden at this point, the game of football has kind of passed Gruden by, and that was kind of evident in his last tenure with the Raiders. But I don't know, man. I just think, first off, the press conferences and all the mic'd up segments would be hilarious. Just for a pure entertainment standpoint, I feel like Gruden would be awesome. And he also still is such a great head coach, but he just signed on to Barstool. I know that's a cushy job. He's got a lot of money from that job, but I know that he will be getting some head coaching consideration. Just throw the Jets hat in the ring. I don't really think that would be anything that the Jets or John Gruden are truly interested in, but it is funny to kind of contemplate what the Jets would be like under John Gruden. So we're going to look at my first, and that's number 10. That's Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. Now, I think Kubiak has the offensive scheme that would fit the current New York Jets well. Right now, he's someone that's really a run-first type of offensive coordinator, a lot of misdirection, a lot of play action. He likes to vertically threaten the defense, which is something that, I could really get behind, regardless of who the quarterback is next year, I feel like Clint Kubiak's offense would probably work better with someone like Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, the New York Jets, but I don't know if he's going to be considered as a serious candidate this head coaching cycle. I think maybe next year, because just so many players for the New Orleans Saints got injured this year. I mean, in what, a 2-week span, they had basically their top 3 receivers go on IR. So really, what was Kubiak going to be able to do with the offense that he had left? But, he did a really good job last year. He did a good job up until the point where everyone started to get injured. He's someone, like I said, still 37 years old. So I'm really in the market for a younger head coach here, someone that could build a culture, could resonate with the players on both sides of the football, and is a true leader of men. Now, I can't attest to Clint Kubiak's character really. In looking for interviews and all that kind of good stuff, press conferences, I didn't really gauge too much from his personality, but I don't think this would be a outstanding hire for the New York Jets. I would like it, a 50% excitement meter, only because he is an offensive-minded coach. And, when was the last time the Jets had an offensive-minded coach? I couldn't really tell you. So that's something that I would be excited about. But I think Clint Kubiak's maybe a year or two away from being seriously considered as a head coach of an NFL team. Then we're going to go to number 9. That's going to be Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. Again, age 37, excitement meter about 50%. Slowick was a very hot name going into the 2024 coaching carousel because of his fantastic work with the Houston Texans offense and with quarterback C.J. Stroud. Now, C.J. Stroud has regressed quite a bit in his sophomore year. I'm just hoping that that's a sophomore slump. But Slowick's name has kind of cooled down. He's not nearly as mentioned as much, but I still think that he would be a strong candidate for a lot of interviews. Kind of the same deal with Kubiak. I think Slowick is someone that's probably a couple years still away from being seriously considered as a head coach. I'd love to see a little bit more consistency, maybe another strong year from CJ Stroud and that offense. But to be fair to, Slowick's defense, the offensive line for the Houston Texans was beat up quite a bit. So was CJ Stroud. He got beat up a lot, took a lot of sacks, and they had a lot of injuries, losing Stephon Diggs halfway through the season, losing Nico Collins for 4 or 5 games there in the middle of the year. Tank Dell is not going to be available until after next year, too. So they did deal with a lot of injuries as well. But Slowick is someone, again, that I would be excited about, is a young offensive mind. So that's something that I could really get behind. But other than that, don't really know how much personality, don't know how much New York he truly possesses in his personality. So we're going to number 9, talking about New York and his personality. We're going to number 8, Rex Ryan. So, if you would have asked me, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, I'd be a little bit more excited about this. Now let me preface this by saying, I think Rex Ryan, out of all the coaching candidates that are out there, not even just this 10, I think Rex Ryan embodies the New York Jets through and through the most. He's someone that you could tell truly cares about the New York Jets, the team, the fans, the organization. He bleeds green and white through and through. That is, we all know that. He's someone that has been very adamant about, yes, give me the job. I want the job. And I would be kind of excited about it because, Rex Ryan is a no-nonsense head coach. He's going to tell you exactly how he feels. And I feel like with some of the egos, not only on the Jets team, but just in the NFL in general, you do need a no-nonsense coach every once in a while to come around and kind of say, listen, check your ego at the door. This is football first. You guys want to win. You guys want to create a culture. Well, we're going to do that, but you got to check your egos at the door. And I feel like a lot of coaches really don't instill that in their players in today's NFL. I do fear that the NFL has kind of passed Rex Ryan by in terms of schemes, in terms of maybe the way that he coaches an actual NFL game. But at the same time, the excitement meter at 69 is just a joke. I mean, I would be pretty excited for the most part if he was hired. I would just fear that maybe he's got too old of a mindset for today's NFL. But at the same time, he would kind of be the kick in the ass that the Jets organization needs. So I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to it. I just think maybe due to the age and, the way that he thinks, maybe would not resonate well with the players. So that's why I have him at number 8 here. But if you would ask me just based off of name and just based off of would you like Rex Ryan to coach the Jets, he'd probably be in my top 3 or 4. But looking at the optics and kind of going deeper into it, he's a little bit towards the back for me. And then at number 7, maybe a surprise to you guys. This is a favorite entrant of mine, which is why a personal entrant here, which is why my excitement meter is at 100 for someone that's my 7th rated candidate here. But Josh McCown, also didn't realize that he's already 45 years old. I thought he was a little bit younger than that, but then you forget that he did play in the NFL until he was like 38 or 39. So it does make sense. The quarterback coach of the Minnesota Vikings, I believe he was the quarterback coach for the Carolina Panthers last year. My excitement would be through the roof because I love outside the box hires. Josh McCown is someone that embodies football through and through. He seems younger than 45, but he's a young head coach that will resonate with the players. Someone that the players would really respect, because that's someone that did play in the NFL, and that's someone that did play in the NFL for quite a long time as well. So someone that knows what it takes to win, well, not necessarily win a lot, but knows what it takes to win in the NFL, knows what it takes to prepare for an NFL game, how to prepare for defenses. This is something, again, maybe a coordinator that's a couple years away, or a coach that's a couple years away from being a true candidate as an NFL head coach. But man, I would be super excited about this. This would be an outside the box hire that I know would be controversial from a lot of Jets fans. They'd probably be like, I can't believe that you're hiring a guy that has no head coaching experience with the talent on this roster. But sometimes that's exactly what you need. And this is kind of a shot in the dark, and really a true dark horse, in my opinion. But I really do like Josh McCown. I like his energy. And that's something that I would be truly excited about, but I don't think is going to happen. But I just had to throw him in there, as I mentioned. Number 6, I got Liam Cohen. This is one that I feel like is really under the radar, that a lot of people aren't talking about, and comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree. And he has come in to Tampa Bay and has just, kind of lit it up with Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's really one of the reasons why they were excited to work together, because they worked together briefly in Los Angeles with the Rams, and Cohen came over, and this offense has exploded. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know that they have to have a top 5 offense, and definitely in passing, Baker Mayfield is having the season of a lifetime. And Cohen, I was fearing for Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after Dave Canales left, and he went to go coach the Carolina Panthers, and they hired Liam Cohen. I thought it was a nice hire, kind of like a seamless transition from another good young offensive mind in Canales to Liam Cohen. I don't think, again, this is someone that is probably going to entertain offers, but probably isn't going to go anywhere until maybe next year. I feel like a lot of guys that get into a coordinator role don't really give it up after just 1 year, unless the coaching, the destination is just something that you absolutely can pass up. The Jets might be something that you could probably pass up, but as a young offensive mind, I feel like Liam Cohen would be I would be super excited to see what he could do with the offense. Obviously, you'd have to get, somewhat of a mobile quarterback. I know Rodgers can move. I don't know if he'll be back, but Tyrod Taylor is someone that I would think could run that offense. Maybe someone with a little bit of a bigger arm than Tyrod Taylor, someone that really isn't as run first as Taylor is, but I think he would do a fine job. But I would be somewhat excited about this hire. But again, I don't think this is someone that is going to be seriously considering offers this year. But I would be quite excited if Liam Cohen was to take the job for the New York Jets. Someone that I don't think a lot of people are really talking about at all for the New York Jets, that I think could be very much in play. So at number 5, I have Joe Brady. Joe Brady, the youngest of the bunch here, just still 35 years old. I feel like he was just he came along into the NFL with Matt Rule in Carolina. I don't remember what year that was, maybe say 3-4 years ago. So he was super young coming into the NFL, still obviously super young. It didn't really work out in Carolina, and he was hired midway through last season by the Buffalo Bills. And I mean, this is the best ball that Josh Allen has played in his entire career. The run game has been fantastic. You could say that they're doing more with less at the receiver position this year. They've been dealing with injuries. Dalton Kincaid was injured for quite a while as well. The passing game looks like it hasn't slowed down at all. The run game has been really awesome. James Cook has taken a massive step forward, leads the league in rushing touchdowns at 15. Joe Brady is someone that looks like if you give him the pieces, he will be able to run a awesome offense in the NFL. And he looks like he's got that swagger about him. It looks like someone that could handle the pressure of a New York media. I mean, look at that smug look on his face. This is probably the look that he would give me if I said, hey, Joe, why don't you come coach the New York Jets? This is the exact face. This is really why I chose the picture. This is the exact face that I think he would give me if I asked him to do that. He'd be absolutely visibly disgusted by the idea of coaching the New York Jets. But yeah, this is someone, again, I would be maybe a little bit, I shouldn't give it an 80% on the excitement meter. That's someone that I'd probably be a little bit more closer to 100% would be way more excited about. But Joe Brady is someone, again, that, I mean, when you have Josh Allen as your quarterback and your offense is clicking as well as the Buffalo Bills offenses, I really don't know how much I would want to leave. It's kind of like Steve Spagnuolo. You know how Spags has been in that role for KC for so long? Why would you even entertain leaving? You're honestly, when it comes to rings, he's probably considered one of the greatest assistant coaches of all time. Why would you consider leaving? Doesn't he have he has 5 Super Bowl rings as like a defensive coordinator? why would you consider leaving and going to be a head coach again where it didn't really work out? But Joe Brady is young enough to where he can leave, be a head coach, and if it doesn't work out, he could come back and be an offensive coordinator for as long as he wants. Age is not a factor for Joe Brady, but that's someone that, again, I feel like would just bring a certain energy to the sideline for the New York Jets that everyone can get excited about. And then at number 4 here, I have Jesse Minter. Now, I know Jets fans are going to say, defensive-minded coach. Be that as it may. I mean, Rex Ryan's defensive-minded coach, but man, Jesse Minter, 41 years old, the Chargers defensive coordinator. He came over into the NFL with Jim Harbaugh. He was basically, for a while, Jim Harbaugh's mouthpiece for the most part. So you know that he could handle the tough questions from the media. He's someone that has plenty of experience, a lot of pressure at Michigan to succeed. That defense was spectacular under his tenure. He comes into the NFL, and the Chargers right now are currently sitting at 10-6, I believe it is, off the top of my head. And he has turned that defense into a stalwart for the most part. Yeah, they've had their slip-ups here and there, but their defense was absolutely atrocious under Brandon Staley. And he's basically turned a unit that didn't add that much talent to that side of the ball and kind of made it a top 10 worthy defense. So he's someone, and I mean, could you imagine? He's doing that with the lesser talent that he has for the Chargers. Can you imagine what he would do with a Sauce Gardner and a Will McDonald and a Quinnen Williams and Jermaine Johnson, Quincy Williams, Jamian Sherwood, all these guys on the team that are immensely talented? That would be something that would be spectacular. Again, someone that could definitely handle those tough questions and the tough media. I would be super excited. I don't think, especially after just 1 year in LA and also being with his guy, Jim Harbaugh, I really think it would take quite an offer for Jesse Minter to move from sunny LA to East Rutherford, New Jersey. So again, something I don't think that would happen, but if he takes the interview and he gets a job, I would be extremely excited about Jesse Minter being the head coach. Now, number 3 may be controversial. I have Ben Johnson at number 3, mainly because I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be another job that comes out that is going to be far more appealing for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson seems like the type of guy that if a team is kind of just missing a head coach and maybe a couple small pieces here and there, that's the team that he's going to go to. I fear that the Jets are missing just a little too much for what he's looking for. I think the Bears would be a very enticing offer for him, probably somewhere that he would go because they have their franchise quarterback. They have a good enough offense that he could, really take advantage of those skill positions. And, the defense is good. That seems like they're a team that's just really a head coach away from being a legitimate contender. So I think Ben Johnson is going to look elsewhere, but man, this would just be super exciting. I mean, a young, brilliant offensive mind. Oddly looks a lot older without a hat on. If you Google Ben Johnson and you see a picture of him without a hat on, he looks way older. That was the picture I was going to use, but I didn't want to do him a disservice. So I left the picture with the hat on. I was like, wow, he looks about 10 to 12 years older without a hat on. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, this guy, I don't have to tell you guys, the Lions are basically on, primetime TV every week. He gets to showcase his abilities. I mean, the things that he comes up with the personnel that he has, I mean, he just runs an electric offense. It does seem like if the Lions get 1 to 2 stops throughout the course of the game, their offense is going to be able to just score enough points to blow everyone out of the water. So Ben Johnson is someone that is going to easily be the most coveted coordinator turning into a head coach this offseason. Who knows? Again, same thing kind of like with Joe Brady. Maybe it's just so cushy. Who knows? If the Lions win a Super Bowl, why would you move? Maybe Ben Johnson's someone that is just going to wait for the absolute perfect opportunity, and he's going to be choosy, and he absolutely should. You don't have to jump at the first head coaching offer that comes across the board. But, if I'm Woody Johnson, I'm kind of offering Ben Johnson as much money as he wants and whatever power he wants over the roster. That's what I think. Well, maybe a GM that's in lockstep with his offensive philosophy. But Ben Johnson, someone that looks like he could be a real leader of men, and that would be just an otherworldly hire. I would arguably be most ecstatic about this hire than the other two that I have here, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So I don't want to get my hopes up there. So then at number 2, I have Mike Vrabel here. I mean, what can I say about him that hasn't been said already? Oddly enough, I forgot that he did take on a role in the Cleveland Browns front office this year. 49 years old. I'd be I would be over the moon about this hire. I mean, this is a guy, this is exactly what I talked about before at Rex Ryan. I feel like Mike Vrabel is a little bit of an embodiment of a younger Rex Ryan, of like a now version of Rex Ryan, as where I fear that Rex Ryan has been left behind by the NFL. Mike Vrabel is someone that has coached in today's NFL. He knows what it takes to win. He's a no-nonsense, hard-nosed guy that's not going to take any shit from his players. And he's a true leader of men. And that's exactly what this New York Jets roster needs. A true leader of men, someone that knows how to win in the NFL and how to get to the playoffs. And Vrabel is someone that, I mean, I truly think he's just leveraging the Jets into getting the New England Patriots head coaching position because he obviously wants that job. He expressed it, I believe, last year, kind of went to Robert Kraft and said, yes, I will take this job. But Gerard Mayo was getting groomed by Bill Belichick. So I think, Robert Kraft staying loyal to his guys said, we're going to roll with Gerard Mayo. But Vrabel is someone that, man, that would just be pretty much a perfect hire, honestly. And then that leads me to number one here, which is Brian Flores. You want to talk, basically everything that I said about Mike Vrabel is amplified intensity-wise just a little bit more with Flores. I mean, this guy, besides for the scandals that went on with the Miami Dolphins, this guy, I feel like, really knows how to win. He commands these men. He gets the absolute most out of whoever is playing for him. I mean, look at the Minnesota Vikings defense this year is more talented than it was last year. They signed Byron Murphy, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel. But the year prior, he inherited a historically terrible defense and turned them into a top 10 unit. And this year, they're kind of on the same course, maybe just a little bit better. He's someone that knows how to squeeze, my famous saying, he made chicken salad out of chicken shit. He knows how to squeeze every ounce of talent out of his guys, a true leader of men. That's what I'm looking for. And he's young enough to where I feel like he could truly resonate with these players. And you want to talk about hard-nosed, no-nonsense type of intensity. That's what I want. That's what they need. They need I hate to make the comparison, they need a Dan Campbell type of intensity, a true leader, someone that you can get behind and you could believe their philosophy and their vision for the team going forward. Look at Dan Campbell. I think he started off his tenure 1-6 or 1-7. The team did not give up on him. They doubled down on his philosophy and where he wanted to take the team and his vision. And look at them now. They are probably Super Bowl favorites as of right now, just 2 short years later. So Flores is a guy that I would have full confidence in from start to finish, whatever he'd want to do, control over defensive personnel, whatever it may be. I would be over the moon about this hire. This would be the hire that I would be most excited about. But be that as it may, let's see what happens. This is just a video to give you kind of an idea of who I think would be a good head coaching candidate for the New York Jets. I don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know if any of these guys are even going to get interviews with the New York Jets, or even take the interviews, I should say, with the New York Jets. But yeah, so that is my quick little video here for you guys today. Let me know if you guys want to see my 10 candidates for the general manager position. I would be happy to make a video on that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.